guys, this is Ocean. This is going to be another one of those videos where I talk about my actual experience with the deck. This time we're talking about the StarDragons Oracle cards, which was an addition to my collection, I would say 6-7 months, something like that, or a year maybe. You know, it's a while. Can't remember exactly, but you can look up, check the linked first impression and flip through in the description. So if you want to see the exact date where I uploaded those, then you can get a rough estimate of when I got those decks. Reason why I got them is, yes, obviously dragons. But if you know me and you're subscribed to my channel, which thank you if you do, if you haven't, please do, you know that I love dragons. So I'm picky about them. So when I saw this deck, at first I was like, I'm not sure, but because, you know, Paolo Barbieri's art style, who's the author and illustrator for this deck, it reminds me of the 90s fantasy art. And while I love some of those illustrations, I usually don't like most of them. So I was like, I'm not sure if I want to get this deck, but good thing I did. So like I said, it's a low Scarabeo deck. It's illustrated and authored by Paolo Barbieri, who's Italian. What you're gonna find in this video is I'll talk about, you know, the physical experience, the tangible experience about the deck, the guidebook. I'm gonna show you some favorite deck pairings, and then, you know, how unique this deck is for me and if I decided to keep it or not. So, you know, if you're curious, please keep on watching. So let's start with the physical aspect. It's a 2-piece box. It's not a lot of cards and it's very slippery, as you can see. That's one of the things which I don't like. I don't mind the cards being shiny, but I do mind them being slippery. And Low Scarabeo does that with some of the Oracle decks, and I just don't know. Like, I know that matte is a very popular, you know, finish, but you know, you don't have to do matte, but don't do such a slippery deck that, you know, it happens that when you shuffle it, it will go everywhere. And if you have candles burning on your table, it can be dangerous. So something like the box, actually, which is a matte, but it's not a rose petal kind of matte. It's just matte finish, a really good matte finish. I would have loved to have something like this for the cards. I know why they usually probably went with the shiny finish. It shows off the colors better, but still, you know, like still. So yeah, 2-piece box. I'm gonna put it somewhere here. We have, I forgot how many cards, the 33, so it's not a big deck, but my Zombie Oracle is around the same time, so I'm not judging. Let's talk about which one should I talk about? The cardstock I mentioned. Card size, I think, is the usual standard Oracle size. I don't have a tarot deck because why would I yet? But this is the Possibilities card from the Oak, Ash and Thorn, which is, I would say, a regular tarot size deck. So you can see that compared to that, it's, you know, usual Oracle size. At this point, I usually show a few favorite cards of mine, but to be honest, I already upside down. I love them all, and I don't really have favorites. One of the ones that I like are the extra cards because of the monotone, or, you know, one color pretty much color theme going on. I'm just curious if I can find. There was one card which I should have, you know, looked for in advance, but forgot. For some reason, I really like the green, the surrender card. It's not my favorite dragon, but the way that she has the dragon as is kind of like a part of her, you know, the closeness. I really enjoy that. This one is one of my favorite one, the Miracle, because it kind of show, you know, it gives you such a an action oriented illustration. How do you say that properly? You see movement and action in the card, even though, you know, it's Miracle making a difference. We see that, you know, this huge ass dragon is almost crushing that, you know, tiny lamp, but you can stop with the motion, you can stop with the forward movement, and you know, just choose not to go down the road that you previously thought that you would do go down. So yeah, I don't really have a favorite dragon in that sense, because they are not exactly my type of dragons, but they are kind of there. Two of them that I really, actually really don't like, or no, that's a strong word, is Knowledge with this jug. It's kind of looks a bit too in your face for knowledge, you know, like there's a vessel that holds the knowledge. I'm like, okay. And this one, I know it's a unicorn, and you know, it's transformation. I love the card and the meaning. It's defining yourself. You can be a unicorn dragon if you want to be. For me, that's a creature that's not a dragon. So, you know, in a dragon deck, be a dragon. Yeah, I know. But like I said, I appreciate the message. The deck doesn't come edged, by the way. I edged it in a metallic color, which suits the back. So yeah, like I said, there are 5 of these extra cards, which you can separate from the deck and use it as an additional message, because when you have, for example, something like knowledge, it implores you, or you know, encourages you to use knowledge and use all sorts of knowledge and ways to gain information about the card that you're pulling. You know, if you pull, for example, transformation with knowledge, then, you know, dig into the info about how you want to transform yourself, or what is it entailing and stuff like that. But how I use this deck is I kept everything mixed in, and when these cards came up, I just used the messages from them, and that worked perfectly fine. So how I used this deck was, I used them in pick a card readings, but where the surprising usage came from me is I used it as a daily draw for January, which was a really, really hard month for me. But I used it as a daily encouragement, and just I would say a hug deck, but not in a, oh yeah, everything is gonna be fine, here you are, you know, take an apple and go play. It was I was really going through a lot of really hard emotions, and just anxiety and depression and everything you can imagine, and it was really, really hard. And I used this deck to kind of ask the universe to send me something that I can hold on to, if I want to be perfectly honest. And I don't even know why I started using this deck for that purpose, to communicate with someone or something, you know, that was bigger than me, and just ask for help with the struggles that I was going through. But that was the best decision of that period of my life, because as you can see, healing, restoring hope is exactly what this deck did for me. And you know, there's no such thing as a coincidence. So getting this card up, and I'm struggling to say how this deck worked for me, is, you know, it's a help from above. So if you're going through something like that, this deck can be very, very powerful, because it's not just a keyword, you know. And the guidebook is very useful, and I'm gonna show you how the guidebook looks and what I mean by that. So it's a Los Caribbean, it's, you know, it's multiple languages. So the English is about, I think this big. which is not a bad thing, by the way. Sometimes it doesn't have to be more than the amount that we get. So, you know, there are the main deck, there are the generals that I showed you, the knowledge and stuff like that. And in the main deck, you get 2 messages with each card. One of them is gonna be the message of the dragon and the message of the herald, which is always here. And, you know, you can choose which meanings you want to get from the card. There are constellations, which are always, you know, given. I never really use that. But you can if you're knowledgeable about constellations. And the star is listed on the page that is the most wide knowingly, or you know, most wide knowing. Okay, that's I kind of stumble on my words these days, but whatever. You know, I don't know why I want to change what's, you know, written here, but which is associated most knowingly, that's what I would try to say, with the card. Wisdom of the Herald, like I said, that's the meditative text that focuses on the herald or human energy of the card. And then you get the Wisdom of the Dragon, which is the universal archetypal energy of the card. And then there's also a StarDragon invocation, a summary of the cards. So I do think that the cards are very well put together. And then, you know, there's some info on how you can use the cards. You can use them in spreads. I usually use them, like I said, I use them in 1 card readings, and in pick a card readings, I usually use them as an advice card. So let's give you an example from the guidebook. You have, okay, let's do the healing. So I can only show you the card as well. So we have, okay, can you see? Hopefully you can see. So we have healing. The constellation is the Pegasus, which, you know, you can, sometimes it's easy to realize that that's on the card. Like in this one, you can see the wings are more feathery. So maybe at first the illustration doesn't seem like it's connecting to the card meaning, but it actually does. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, enlightenment is one of my favorite ones. But with healing, we have the constellation the Pegasus, and the star is Enif, Epsilon Pegasi. I'm assuming it's not how you say it. Which, you know, it's an extra info, but I since we're not getting anything besides that, I mean, I'm assuming I could look them up and take something away from them, but at this point it's just an interesting extra info and explains the dragon's way of illustration. He explains why the dragon was illustrated in a way that it was. So, and as you can see, we have the Wisdom of the Herald. Hope rings eternal, and it's waiting for you to take flight. Even in the darkest night, the star shines from forth to lead the way. Hope does not expect anything, but rather looks forward and visualizes a day when the light will return once more. Hold on to that vision and press on forward. Actively restore your optimistic mindset. Help is on the way. So, you know, when you feel really desperate and you just want someone to tell you that you're not alone and things will get better, pulling a card like this can be very powerful, because you will feel that was how I was. I felt like someone was actually listening to me struggling and trying to get better. So I know that sometimes when you read something like this, and I was like that too, it might feel like that, this is just like, hope is on the way, and blah, blah, blah. What do you mean, like, actively restore your optimistic mindset? Like, how do you do that? And I'm not saying that it's easy or that it doesn't sound ridiculous when you're not in the mood or in need of something like that. But when you're in that Ten of Swords hole, this can be very powerful. And like I said, it can be someone lending you a helping hand. So I'm not dismissing these messages anymore the way that I did before I went through the whole past few months. And, you know, Yeah, I'm not gonna say and who knows what's coming because I don't want to be, you know, pessimistic. I'm just being realistic. I probably will need this deck in the future, but at least now I know that I have it, which is great. And then, you know, you have the Wisdom of the Dragon, which is a more general thing in a way that it explains how healing works, which, you know, you might know immediately, obviously, but sometimes you need to hear that, you know, hear that healing will come in its time, you know, even when things seems the bleakest. You know, don't give up, stuff like that. So it's pretty much the same message, but in a bit different way. And for me, it was just emphasizing the same message. And then with the Star Dragon Invocation, you get some questions that you can start thinking about how to do that. You know, can you think of a time or area of your life wherein you lost hope? Restore that hope in your heart each day as you actively engage in the healing process. And I'm like, I didn't need to think about that. So, but you know, it's like a step-by-step process. You can do that, and it's just encouragement. And you can do that and use that for journaling as well. So in a way that this is quite a useful and very, I think it's a very well put together guidebook. I'm just checking. I don't think there was, you know, there wasn't a lot of spreads. It was a 3 card, 1 card, a 3 card, or the 2 card with the, you know, 2 type of cards that you can use, and some examples for a 3 card reading. But I do still think that, you know, the way that the cards are explained are very well written, actually. And with the generals, we have, it's more text. We have, for example, here the space, and there's also some, you know, astronomical text as well, that if you want to, you know, read that. I read it, but I can't remember anymore, and I didn't use it in readings, but it was just interesting. So you have the, you know, the generals and what they mean. With knowledge, you have the constellation Aquarius and the star Solosud Beta Aquarii. Doesn't seem like a Star Trek planet, Beta Aquarii. Like I know it's a, you know, star, so actually it could be in Star Trek. But it gives you, you know, like an actual thing to do. Like Wisdom of the Herald is build your skills and abilities you with knowledge. You know, go after the knowledge and learn about something. And with resources and inspiration and time, you get different things that you can use and do. And I think I'm, you know, just blabbering on too much. So that was the guidebook and the spreads, and I do think the guidebook is very usable. I would advise to, at least and in the beginning, read them. Read the definitions and the explanations in the guidebook. If you use the deck continuously, you will remember the meanings. Obviously, if you don't, and you stop using it and you just use it seldomly, I would say it's a good thing. You don't have to use it because the keywords are very useful and usable, but I would say it's a good idea to keep the guidebook at hand and check the messages in them as well. Okay, so I'm gonna show you next a few deck pairings that I liked. I wasn't using these in January because I was using just a 1 card a day thing, but I use them in pick a card readings. So, you know, we have first the Earth, Heaven and Earth. Oh god, I was blanking on the card. Heaven and Earth deck, and hopefully it's not too dark, because I have to have the shades rolled down because it's just too hot today. So I try to get as much light as possible because so kind of like that they are similar. Okay, they are not similar style, but kind of still feel like that. And the muted colors of the Heaven and Earth matches the or doesn't overpower the colors of the dragon deck. So I you know, or when they are in the realm of the generals, it's quite nice. We have the Princess of Cups with knowledge. You know, princesses are the knights in this deck, I think, not the pages. Or no, they are the pages. So it's about, you know, learning, being in that mindset of learning about something in emotional, for example, here, which is, you know, a good pairing. Transformation with the Knight of Cups. And doesn't it look like, you know, it's kind of like a knight itself? So you can, you know, draw a lot of things just from the imagery or how they look next to each other and the meanings as well. So I do think that these two decks work well and they look well, because it's not something that I necessarily need, but, you know, it's always appreciated. For example, Queen of Cups with Miracle, making a difference. Coming from that nurturer place and not taking an action, you know, holding back, what I said when I showed you the card, is sometimes leading to miracles, which is, you know, something really cool, I think. Okay, that's number one. Another one is one of my, you know, workhorse decks, obviously the Lightseers Tarot, which is this one, because I pretty much use this deck all the time when I do readings, so obviously you can see how it works next to each other. We have the Surrender, Letting Go of Darkness with Judgment. I mean, Judgment and Surrender and the two green cards. How perfect that is, please. Four of Wands with resources. Like, do you throw a party without actually having the resources to throw the party? You know, like, can you celebrate something and, you know, do you have the resources? For example, if you're thinking about a wedding to throw, do you have the resources to throw the wedding that you want? And I know that that's a very everyday example, but hey, we have space with the word, you know, space as in the physical and mental space. And the word is all about finding your space in the word. So these are just example cards, and the colors can really match as well. As you can see, the Knight of Cups with Rebirth, giving yourself a second chance and kind of, you know, wooing yourself, romancing yourself, being open to, for example, if you have been a player, so to speak, in relationships, give yourself a chance to actually commit to one and see how a committed relationship can transform you. Oh my god, there's an ant on the deck that I want to show you. What is an ant doing here? Okay, that's just a side note. Another one is the Tarot of the Little Prince, which is one of my favorite decks. Okay, the ant is really quick. It's already on the second deck. Oh my god, ant drama. We have tranquility, harmonious inaction with the lovers. You know, sometimes allowing space to other people and just loving them is powerful. We have the word again with dominance, believing in yourself, you know, dominating your own dominion, maybe. And you can only reach that place in the word card when you're believing in yourself, you know. At least that's how I feel. We have that with returning, going with the flow. Isn't that nice with the transformation energy? And, you know, this deck has, the Tarot of Little Prince has some muted colors as well, which I do think that goes really nicely, just visually as well, which, you know, it's always a nice extra. So that's the Tarot of the Little Prince, and I'm talking because I don't want to cut the deck. Okay, we have another oracle with the ant. As you can see, the ant is here. We're gonna be careful and let the ant roam around. And this is another oracle deck, another dragon deck. And how I use these two is when I want to see a more of a playful side of this energy, because dragon energy can be very powerful and strong. but sometimes you want something more on the playful side, and I would use the Field Guide to Garden Dragons in those cases. And we have the Pepper Dragon Versatile with Legacy and Persistence. Like, you can only have Legacy obviously if you're persistent, but you need to be versatile as well, because you need to find some, you know, if you only have one thing and that one thing goes away, then you have nothing. And look at that, we have ants on the card. Can you see? Like, okay, ants are important today in this reading. I don't know why. It's not even a reading, you know, it's just a deck review, but ants are important. Do let me know if you're working with ant energy, I'm quite curious. We have Carrot Dragon with Observe and the Grief Accepting Loss. And I would read this, you know, that you need to take a step away from your grief and look at it from the outside to realize why you're still holding on to, what you're grieving, and, you know, just observe your feelings and other people's feelings and try to find something that can help you with experiencing what you've lost, the grieving process. We have Gooseberry Dragon Stealth with Effort, conquering your demons. And I love that, you know, in this deck, it's obvious you're not killing a dragon as a demon. It's the dragon is helping you killing your demons, because, you know, you don't always have to slay a dragon, but you need stealth with, you know, dealing with something that is hard to deal with. So it's a more playful one, but it can definitely gives you extra information as well. Dragon Fruit Dragon, Defense, Inspiration, Find Inspiration, you know, like, as in, look up other people, how they do it, how they, you know, defend their energy and themselves, and learn from other people and be more clever about things like that. Which I do think that it's, you know, very good advice. Okay, so I'm gonna just put back a few cards, so I kind of feel like we start to run out of the deck. I mean, it's 33 cards, so, you know. Another one, it's an oracle. It's the Building Relationships Oracle, because I use this deck, these two, in the relationship-related readings a lot. We have Next Stage with Vision, Contemplating the Future. I mean, you know, do I need to spell it out? Probably not, but, you know, still, get a vision. You cannot reach the next stage, you cannot build toward your future if you don't know how and what you want from your future. And, you know, sometimes the colors can draw into your focus into something. We have Reciprocity with Challenge, Standing Up for Your Rights. And we have that green, you know, nature energy. And, you know, you cannot be reciprocal in a relationship if you let the other person walk all over you. Wisdom, asking questions with self-love. Asking question about why you don't love yourself, what do you need to be able to love yourself. And we have Honesty with Time. Those simple words that, you know, what does it time, and you know, time in this deck is more about, you know, divine timing, not just divine time, but actual passing of time. And this Honesty card is connected to being in a place, in a spiritual place, where you're completely honest with yourself, with your ancestors, with your gods, with everything you have. And you need time for that as well. Or, you know, there's a lot of ways to interpret, and it's really hard to stop, because look at that commitment with choice, understanding consequences. You know, it's just a very good pairing, in my opinion, obviously. But I use this quite a lot, and they always played quite nicely together. Okay, and the second to last is the Tarot Vintage. So back to Tarot Land. I kind of liked pairing muted color decks with the StarDragons, we have the Seven of Cups with trust, love and friendship. Like, what do you have, you know, in those cups? Are those friendships? Are those loves or lovers? Or, you know, do you have a chance for either? Or are you just, you know, choosing love over friendship? Or, you know, you can go down the road. We have Ace of Swords with the Self, gathering your power. I think that looks really great as well together. We have Knowledge with Page of Cups again. The Knowledge card really likes the pages, by the way. I think I've seen that. Okay, let's get something else. Okay, we're back to healing. Knight of Swords, healing. I really don't want to, you know, I don't want to continue giving readings because then the video is already too long. Enlightenment, Queen of Wands, moving forward, and doesn't they both look quite Queen of Wandsy? I mean, obviously she is the Queen of Wands, but she can be a hermit kind of energy or a queen kind of energy. And I love that, you know, the Queen of Wands is about fire and light and passion. She has that here as well. Okay, I'm gonna stop because, you know, we're gonna sit here forever. And the last one is, I'm not gonna say the best one, but, you know, it's an obvious choice, but it's a really good choice because obviously, I mean, I hope it's obvious, I will, you know, pick up the Smoke, Ash and Embers because how do you not pair a dragon deck with a dragon deck? So, Queen of Swords, Rebirth, giving yourself a second chance. Oh, that's an interesting idea. And, you know, we have this wine color kind of in the birds as well. Okay, so I don't know, like, let's have the Page of Cups with Tranquility, Harmonious in action. Sometimes you really want to move and, you know, because you want to experience things, but it's time to not do that actually, to, you know, to learn in a way that you're staying still. Three of Pentacles with dominance, believing in yourself, which is a very interesting idea with the Three of Pentacles, which is all about teamwork. So how do you stay part of a team and work together with others when you dominate a situation, for example? Like, is it a warning not to be that, you know, like not to dominate other people, but believe in yourself still? Or is it a way that you need to step up and be a leader, and that's how you're gonna achieve teamwork with other people? They are, to me, a similar kind of energies in dragons, so they don't clash, because sometimes it happened to me with the Mermaid's Tarot that the Mermaid Oracle that I picked up to work with the deck actually didn't go well with the Mermaid Tarot because the mermaids were too different. But for me, these two types of dragons are similar in energy, so I can easily work with them. Five of Pentacles, returning, going with the flow. And we have Queen of Cups with Legacy, Persistence. And, you know, they look at each other and look down. They have a similar posture, which is always something that I like taking notice, because they kind of, you know, give this similar mirrored feel, which can be interesting. But yeah, I will stop, obviously, because you don't need to see more. We still have the tiny ant. The ant is here still. And yeah, I'm gonna take it outside, obviously. We'll try to take it outside in a bird where, in a place where it came in, so probably it will find its family. Hopefully it's, yeah, okay. So yeah, the ant is fascinating me, I don't know. But yeah, so how unique this deck is for me, it's a very, very unique one. Not necessarily because of the dragons, because this is my dragon deck. These Smoke, Ash and Embers is my dragon deck, so if I, you know, I would keep one dragon deck, then this wouldn't be it. But and I also have the field guide, but it's a very unique one in the sense that this is something that now I associate with powerful healing energy. Again, I honestly wasn't paying attention, but we're back to healing. So could I replace it? No, I don't. I mean, I looked around in my collection after the month when I stopped feeling the need of pulling daily from this deck, because there was a time when I didn't feel like that anymore, which was, you know, great because I was starting to get better. And I looked around, you know, to see if I could do this type of daily pulls for this specific purpose. And, you know, maybe I have a few where I could be doing that, but, you know, this works so well that when I'm in trouble, so to speak, when I need that healing energy, I'm not going to experiment. I will, you know, pull some, maybe the Sacred Destiny Oracle. But that's, I kind of feel like this would still work better, because it already did. It proved itself to me that this works. So no, it's unique and I cannot replace it, at least not currently. And the last question is, did my initial impression hold up? It's actually yes and no, because I think my initial first expression that you can watch actually if you want was, you know, that it's gonna be a good dragon deck and it's gonna be useful in pick a card readings, and it has great keywords, and I like the style and I like the overall energy of the deck. That was my initial reaction, and that's true, that's still true. But it became so much more that, you know, it's an actual, it came from a positive place to a really, 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 really positive place in my collection. So yeah. Okay, this is my few months in longer term experience with this deck. I have similar videos on other decks and I love making these because I do hope and I do think that these type of videos are very helpful. So yeah, do let me know, how do you work with this deck? Do you like this deck? Do you want to know what happens with the end, who's doing some interesting things on the box currently? I think it's, you know, cleaning itself, which is, you know, I don't know, I'm fascinated with this end. But I'm gonna stop because it's obviously that, you know, time to stop, because I'm talking about and the end on the box is not the deck itself. Hope this was useful. Please do let me know if you have the deck. Do you use it? How do you use it? Do you have a favorite pairing that I didn't show? Because I always love seeing that one as well. And yeah, if you have seen a deck in my channel that you would you know, like to see in a longer term one, please do let me know, because then I can, if it's not in already in rotation, I can just, you know, pull it forward and work with it a longer time sooner. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Check out all the ways you can support the channel in the description, and see you in the next one. Bye.